Jetstream Aqua Massage, located in the Heritage Mall, is your answer for relaxation you've been looking for. Our massage beds will help you with stress, anxiety, increase circulation, muscle tension, improve sleep, pain reduction, decrease muscle spasms, increase your range of motion, help with the everyday aches and pains of life. And at only $1 per minute, we'll save you time and money. 20 minutes in one of our machines equals 1 hour of traditional massage. We have gift certificates available for the perfect stocking stuffers. All 10 units are on sale now, and don't forget your BioFreeze. Jetstream Aqua Massage. It's not just a massage, it's an experience.
You're listening to Driver Live, the Northwest Race Car Show, presented by Mississippi Motions and Jetstream Aqua Massage, live on Spreaker Radio.
Back at the Moxie table for our third segment of the day here at the Northwest Race Car Show. We are going to be live with our Driver Live segment, Mr. Andrew Langan. Andrew, welcome to the Moxie table. How are you?
So far, so good. It looks like everything here at the car show is running excellently. A lot of nice cars here and a lot of cool stuff to see. And a great thing for the sponsors.
That's what it's all about, putting this thing on for you guys as drivers and teams and sponsors and getting the recognition, promoting our sport, through getting out here in front of the general public. I will say the response on the car you brought to the race car show has been absolutely phenomenal. Everybody is talking about that number 74 street stock.
My dad knows what he's doing when he puts one of those together. We have a great sponsor through Artistic Customs and Collision that did the paint on the car, and it looks great, and it turned out well. We're pretty happy with it.
It looks like it rolled off of the factory floor. I mean, this thing it's so nice. You don't want to put it on the racetrack. Am I right, Sam?
Oh, yeah, I've heard that a couple times. People say, he doesn't race that thing, does he? Well, does. Folks, this is an expensive hobby. And that's the thing is you look at the thing and you don't see a ounce of mud on it. You don't see any rock chips, even on the undercarriage of the chassis. I mean, I peeked in the wheel well. Don't shoot me, Andrew. But I peeked in the wheel well, and I'm like, dude, this thing hasn't even hit the dirt. And then I started looking at it. I go, wait, this is the same car he ran last year.
It's the same car. It is absolutely spotless.
It's spotless.
Yes or no? Did you wax that car before you brought it in?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It looks like it's 30 layers deep on the paint. Just a beautiful, beautiful car. A lot of people talking about it, and it's not just the way the car looks. Everybody knows how fast that 74 car is. It's talked about everywhere he unloads, and that's just, I mean, you're one of the top 3-4 teams in the Pacific Northwest when it comes to street stocks. Your program is on point. The craftsmanship and the maintenance in your program is arguably second to none.
Yeah, I would agree that my dad and Brett Endicott, he's our crew chief, and he, they know what they're doing. They've been around the sport for long enough, and they know enough about these cars to get them set up.
Brett has been around the game a long time, as well as your dad. Brett, former crew chief for Jay Bugby back in the day, one of my heroes I watched growing up. That tells you how long Brett's been in the game. I mean, a long time championship-winning, crew member with Jay Bugby and those guys. Again, if your dad follows anything that Bugby did as far as their program, the cars were always spotless. The maintenance, I mean, everything was just on point and done right.
Well, that's the thing. When he unloads at a racetrack, you don't have to worry about a mechanical failure with that 74 team.
You really don't. You really don't.
You know that car's going to finish. It's going to be – is it going to – yeah, sorry, we're gonna knock on wood here. But, I mean, is it going to finish first or second? I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
There's no doubt about it. What you said is a true statement. He is regarded as one of the fastest guys, one of the most competitive guys. And we know as announcers when we're up in the Moxie Tower – we'll be talking about the 74 car like we always do. Coming from deep in the field or starting on the front row, it's a threat. It doesn't matter where that car starts. Your talent as a driver, Andrew, has been just even the last couple of years, as good as you are. I've watched you improve and get better and better and better, and I think you've got everybody's attention right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a struggle kind of. I feel like I'm struggling in the car half the time, but
I think you're being modest, buddy.
No, I don't know. My brother is the kind of guy that he always went into a weekend with a whole lot of confidence, and he always thought that he was going to win before he even got to the track. And when I show up to the track, I plan on doing the best that I can, but it's really hard to tell how it's going to go anymore. We have so much good competition, in between the Kronks and ourselves. My brother bought his car back. He's gonna be fast. I have no doubt about that. The field is stacked everywhere we go, and with this Iron Giant series, on these Iron Giant races, there's going to be a great car count and a great quality of car.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that is that Iron Giant series right now is just absolutely exploding. The street stock division in the Northwest, the Pacific Northwest, it's on fire right now. And we're looking at some of these cars that are coming. The 74 of Andrew that we have here. We've got, look at the one car everybody else is talking about right now is the 99 of Justin Evans, the Ford car they're putting together over there in that shop in Albany. There's so many good cars in that street stock. It's tough to be on the upper level of that division. And,
you got literally late model drivers
selling late models
and buying street stocks, or parking their late model for the weekend to hit one of these big races. Joey Tanner and I were talking about it earlier, and you can go win $3,500 in a street stock.
Right.
It's going to pay for your season.
Right. Well, that's the thing. These late model cars are so expensive, and the pay isn't up. You get in these street stocks where you can build honestly, you build a really good car for, what, $20,000. You can build a top-of-the-line car for $20,000 in a street stock and go out and race for top. We've seen guys walk away with $5,500 paydays at the Iron Giant.
Yeah, absolutely. And, we had Joey Tanner win in a Camaro last year. That's been a race car for I don't know how long. So it.
He put to sleep the old theory that the metric cars are dominating and the Camaros are outdated.
Yeah, they did, and a crate motor nonetheless.
He did, and that's what I like about the street stocks right there. You don't have to be a millionaire to go out and win races. I honestly, with the street stocks, even as good as they are now, the technology going into them, I still think it's more driver than it is race car. Do you agree with what I say right there, Andrew?
Yeah, definitely. Joey Tanner kind of proved that, like you said, everyone kind of thinks the metric car is really the way to go, and he put a good whooping on in that Camaro. And I was running third to him, and I couldn't do anything about it. I just had to watch him leave.
When Andrew Langan says, I had to watch him leave, that's
a big statement.
A statement.
It does. So now let me ask you a question, because this has kind of been one of the hot topics with the street stock division here over the last couple of years. Making the transition, a lot of tracks now are making the transition from the slick rule to the G60s. As a driver, and we've asked this to a lot of drivers, get a lot of different answers. As a driver of that car, heavier car, a little less power, slick versus G60, how much difference do you notice underneath you?
I haven't got to drive the Monte Carlo with slicks yet, but I can tell you with the Chevelle that we had for many years, there was a definite difference in stability in the corner. When you went into the corner, it was a lot less likely to skate. You felt like you just had a good footing on the track all the time. And the G60s, they don't quite hold that, but I wouldn't say that they're at a disadvantage in racing. Depending on your setup and what you are set up for, I think the G60 can be just as fast of a tire as the slicks.
I would agree. The G60, with the treaded tire versus an uncut slick, you're decreasing your contact patch by 20% going from a slick to a G60, but at the same point, you've got all those factory grooving and tread block pattern essentially in the thing.
Well, I think the biggest difference will come down to sidewall.
There's a lot of truth to that.
I think that the sidewall allows. I think that watching the cars from the Moxie Tower, looking down, calling the race, I think that we see the cars, like you said, on the slicks, were faster through the corners. I do think that with the G60s, watching them, I think there's a little more forward bite in that tire on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Coming out of the corner, a little more forward bite, a little softer rubber compound. Again, less rubber on the track, a smaller footprint, but I still think you're putting more power down because of the compound of the rubber.
I would agree with you there, but I would also disagree in the fact that you're putting your ground pressures more with going to a G60 because you got a 3,300-pound car. You're decreasing the contact patch by 10% or 20%. I think you're going to be. I think the sidewall in the corner has something to do with it, Corey. But what do you feel, Andrew? Do you think it's a sidewall thing, or do you think it's a contact patch?
As far as the stability I was talking about in the corner, I think that's more contact patch than anything.
Really?
I think so.
With the slick, but more stable in the corners with the slick as opposed to the G60.
Yeah.
But the forward bite with the G60, do you notice the difference as far as?
I can't really. I mean, this is I kind of got to step up in that Chevelle from a flat top 400 engine that wasn't, too special in any fashion, and that engine won a lot of races to a kind of a powerhouse engine. And right as we went back to the G60s, and for a long time I had a poor opinion of the G60, and I think that was why. I think I was blowing the tires off because of having a big engine, but it
So would you say the G60s kind of made you more of a finesse driver?
I think it absolutely does. You definitely have to have more finesse on the pedals, and definitely in these Monte Carlos with the way that the rear suspension is set up, you have to drive with 2 feet a lot more. You got to be, trailing the brake in the corner, and it's a lot different than the Chevelle that I came out of.
Interesting.
A lot of truth to that.
What does the 2018 schedule look for? What are you doing? Are we racing for a track title anywhere? Are we going to run the Iron Giant Series? What's in your future?
We're primarily going to do the Iron Giant Series, and otherwise we will. I'm not really sure yet. I don't know that any of us are about which track we're going to try to run more often than others. Grove is kind of our home track, and it's an extremely fun track to drive, and it's just fast. But up at Willamette, you guys have the Clare Cup, you have the Strawberry Cup, you have these big races that draw big car counts and a lot of really quality drivers, and I think the competition at those bigger shows are they're a lot funner and they're a lot more challenging.
Excuse me.
You seem to have a lot more fun when you're at Willamette. Like, you seem like you're usually in a pretty good mood, having a lot of fun in the pits with the guys. When I saw you a lot up there this last season.
You would know. You spent a lot of time over there mounting cameras on the 74.
I do, yeah. That's where he was talking earlier about he wasn't so sure. I don't know. Some of the footage I saw, he was looking pretty confident sticking it where I thought, no, maybe not. Oh, okay, you did it. All right, cool.
Well, I'll tell you, at the Wallbanger, when you were down there at Cottage Grove, and we mounted cameras on the 74, was the footage we got was quite exciting, to say the least. I mean, that was fun to watch and to see your car work from the inside and what you do with your hands on the wheel. And it's always fun to watch. We really watch that, pay attention, and we learn a lot about drivers and what's going on in the cockpit. And we, being the experts that we are, we're not experts.
Not even
you
close.
might not be.
But we do a lot of analyzing on what's going on, and it's fun. It's fun to I'm glad you guys allow us to put those cameras on there because your fans absolutely love that.
Well, and it makes us fans.
It really does.
Well, and that's one thing that helps us get to know these guys. Being in the pit area and talking with you guys and mounting cameras and the conversations that come with it, and the interviews like this, and then Victory Lane. It's a little bit different, but when we're at the track and things are a lot more lax as far as mounting cameras and kind of hanging out, it's fun to get to know you guys. But 2018, the street stocks are just it's nuts. What's going on with this field?
It really is.
And the great thing about that is, like Andrew mentioned earlier, you can basically pick where you want to go and know you're going to have cars and you have good cars. You can't do that in a lot of divisions here in the Northwest.
No.
Yeah, and it's a great thing to be able to go to different tracks and be challenged at every one of them. Nothing's funner than that. You can go out for a Sunday drive, but if you're the only car on the track, it's going to be a lot less fun than finishing, second by a bumper.
Yeah.
I mean, I would take second over a bumper than first by a mile on a lot of nights. As far as the enjoyment that you get out of it.
The actual fun part of
Of course,
racing.
the trophy is always cool, though.
Absolutely. So we've seen you very dominant. I mean, you've been one of the top 2 or 3 cars in the last 3 or 4 years here in the Northwest in the street stocks. Any plans on moving up to another division anytime soon? Has it been talked about? What are your thoughts on that?
No, there hasn't really been any talk about it. I get asked that question quite a bit, actually. Or, when are you going to move into a modified? Or, it's... I don't really see any reason to. I see a lot of guys that were successful in modifieds and late models in our class, and I get a race against them. So I don't feel like the quality of drivers is any less.
The quality of drivers is not less. I mean, there's definitely some quality drivers in the street stocks as opposed to any other division. I mean, the driving talent is there. It's just as good. It's just everybody, like everybody else, wanting to know. Okay, he's done.